My name is Brett Cook, and I'm a senior at Arlington Baptist College. Before I ever came to Arlington, Texas, I was never in a relationship with a girl. I'm not the kind just to date for the sake of dating, so I never pursued a relationship. I didn't let that define me, though. To be honest, I really didn't even care. But before I ever came to Arlington, I prayed that God would have a girl waiting for me there. And then if He did this, I would honor Him in that relationship. Whenever I moved to Arlington, I found this girl and knew that she was the one that I'd been praying for. She totally fell for my wit and charm. Everything was amazing until our worst enemy came into the relationship. Because what started out as us liking each other turned to us falling in love with each other, which sadly, for some reason, turned to us falling into sin. Some nights you could find us going to the nearby park to do things we had no business doing. When we would go to my house for the weekend, same story, different occasion. And if you were to look at my phone, you could see the conversations we had that totally dishonored the promise I had made to honor God in our relationship. Going as far as we could without the possibility of a baby, so that we can enjoy the pleasures of our sin and nobody know except for God. The other sad part is I was living a lie. At the same time I was living in sin, I was also in an ensemble group. We traveled church to church in the United States, talking about how God was doing amazing things in our life and singing songs. I could fool them with my singing and testimonies, but I was not fooling God. I remember one day in May of 2009, I opened my Bible to Matthew chapter 23. And in this chapter, Jesus is talking to the Pharisees, and He says this to them: "Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, for you are like whitewashed tombs, which outwardly appear beautiful, but within are full of dead men's bones and all uncleanness." The moment I read that, I was broken in my room. I realized I was doing just what the verse was saying. I could put on a suit and look fly and righteous before men, just as Jesus was saying that the Pharisees could wash their tombs white, but it wouldn't fix their heart. I knew I had to fix things after that moment. I was about to go on a tour to Florida for 5 weeks. During those 5 weeks, I realized the gravity of what had happened, how much I had broken God's heart, and how much He loved me and wanted me to change. When I got back to Texas, I had plans to visit her. About halfway there, I was almost in a head-on collision. A mile down the road, I look up to my left and I see a sign that I truly believe was there at that 251 mile marker for a purpose, as it said something along the lines of getting right with God. When I got to her house, she broke up with me because I wouldn't go back to the way things were. And so for the next 3 months, I was broken. With the broken promises of marriage and all the sin that I got myself into, I was down. And then I remember yet again where I was at, how much I broke God's heart, and how He still pursued after me. I'm glad I don't feel that same brokenness that I did 3 years ago. I feel relieved knowing that Christ met me where I was, loved me enough not to let me stay there, and that ever since then, He has shown me how I can be more transformed into His image.